Listen to the story told by the reed of being separated. Now, a reed is basically like, I would say, like grass. It's a long thing. We've all seen them, but you probably didn't think of the name of them. It just looks like a tall, thick blade of grass, and they're called reeds. So I got a book here by my boy Rumi, his book of poetry, and this is the Reed Flute's Song. Since I was cut from the reed bed, I have made this crying sound. Anyone apart from someone he loves understands what I say. Anyone pulled from a source longs to go back. So I love this particular poem. I love Rumi in general. And that, to me, is marriage. Someone was asking me about marriage and to talk about marriage today. And to me, that's marriage, my source. And this is why I'm single. This is why. Because I promised myself, and it's been 5 years, I promised myself I would not settle again. I settled in every relationship that I've ever been in, from the first one to the last one. I settled for mediocre. And it started with the first relationship. I was a young girl, and my first real boyfriend was a Pisces. And I remember talking to my BFF. She was a Virgo. And I said to her, I really don't like him that much, but he's nice to me and he gives me nice things. That's what I said to her. I was like 13. And she was like, okay, you know? And that was the pattern I continued. I continued to basically be like, okay, this is good enough for now, you know? So I promised myself in the last 5 years that I would not do that anymore. That if I did not feel connected like the reed, that I would not be with that person. If I didn't feel the potential for that kind of connection, that I wouldn't be with that person. And I haven't. So this is my idea of marriage. Everybody has a different idea of marriage. Some people see it as a partnership, just a business contract, accumulating wealth, generational wealth. I get all of that. But for me, that's not good enough. If I can't have what I want, I would rather be single. I like single. I like single a lot. So the only thing I like more than single is having that kind of a meaningful relationship. And I think a part of me always wanted a meaningful relationship when I look back on my life, but I was just always like, this is good enough for now. And really, it wasn't. I should have just stayed single. Anyway, so today we have a marriage question that we're going to answer, okay? The question is, should a marriage license have a renewal date? Okay? So I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about this question. I am Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read out two really good positive comments that I got from a previous video. And if you have an opinion about this subject, please drop us some comments, some positive comments, some enlightening comments in the comment section. If you would like to get a reading done, please email me. If you want to hit me up on social media, you can get an appointment that way too. If you would like to become a patron on Patreon, that information is underneath this video too. It's a lot of information underneath this video now that I think about it. My Amazon wish list is underneath this video. My PayPal is underneath this video in case you want to give a donation. My Ask an Aquarius merchandise and Archangel Michael merchandise is underneath this video as well. So let's get into this question. So the question again, should a marriage license have a renewal date? Now, you guys already know I'm going to say no, because I just told you how the reed feels about being pulled away from its source. It screams in agony. So I'm not feeling this at all. I don't even see a benefit to this. Like, my thing is that your marriage license, for those of you who've never gotten married before, I got married once, many moons ago. And basically, you apply for a license, and it says you're allowed to get married, period. So if you have to renew this license every so often, how does that benefit the couple? Because the couple, basically, all you're going to be doing is paying money to the municipality, your government, your state, local government. You're going to be paying them to renew your license every so often, the same way you do your driver's license or your passport. And I'm like, okay, all right, but for what? What is the purpose of this? Because it doesn't benefit the couple. You're just going to be spending money every couple of years, giving money to the government, giving, fattening up their pockets to renew a relationship that you still choose to be in. If you don't choose to be in the relationship anymore, it's called a divorce. So you don't need it to automatically expire at a certain point. You can expire it as needed. And I don't see any benefit to the couple. The only benefit that I can come up with in my imagination is that it does mean that the couple has to constantly choose each other over and over again. The couple has to choose to commit to each other over and over again. Every time it's time to renew, it's like, do you want to renew or not? So the couple has that choice over and over every 4, 5, 6 years, however often this needs to be done. But I don't understand, why do you need a date? Why do you need Uncle Sam to come in and say that to you? Because you are reevaluating your commitment every time you wake up. Every time you wake up, you're reevaluating it. Does this relationship need to be modified? Am I happy in this relationship? Am I happy in this marriage? Is it a true partnership? That's a question you are consciously or unconsciously asking yourself every day. So you don't need like an anniversary date to answer the question. And also think about it like this. A lot of things with legalities are tied to your marital status. So if you're in the hospital, for example, let's just give this as an example. I've talked to a lot of gay and lesbian couples that told me back in the day, and even sometimes now, that if you're not next of kin on somebody's paperwork, that their family has denied them access. So for example, there was 2 men in my city, and they were in a relationship together. One of them, the one that got sick, was estranged from his family, had not seen his family for years because he came out and his family wouldn't accept him, so he moved on with his life. So here we are, 20, 30 years have passed. He's been in a relationship with this man all this time. They've accumulated properties together and all kinds of stuff. And then he got sick and was in the hospital, and his family came to the hospital because, of course, they're still next of kin. They came to the hospital and refused to let his man come in and see him. Now, mind you, all this time his family has not been around. His family has not been there for him. All of a sudden, they pop up, and now they're telling his significant other, who's been there for the whole time and been taking care of him and accumulating things with him, that he cannot see him now. And God forbid he pass over, which in this particular case, I don't know the ending of this story. All I got was that part of it. So God forbid he pass over. Now his next of kin is going to be fighting you for his stuff that they were not even around for him to accumulate. So this whole concept of being married makes that person your next of kin. So this could happen to a heterosexual couple exactly the same way. The marriage license could expire. One of them could be in the hospital either before or when it expires. And then their family could come and be like, well, you can't see him. We don't like you. And because you're not next of kin, they can have you tossed out on your keister. And now you can't support the person that you're in a relationship with. So the point of the matter is that there's nothing about this that can help you. There's nothing about this that could be a good thing for you and your partnership. This can only go wrong in a number of different ways. So if I was going to vote for this, on the voting thing, the ones you check off, I forgot what they're called. If I was going to vote, I would definitely vote against this. This is not going to do nothing but put more money into the government's pockets and put more people in bad situations when they forgot that it expired. How many of you have forgotten and let anything expire? Driver's license, passport, whatever. Most of us are usually on top of these kind of things, but anything could happen, like the case of the hospitalization. So lots of things could happen and go wrong with this, and I don't see any benefit for this. I think a couple should be reevaluating their commitment to each other as they go along. And if that changes, then fine, you deal with it accordingly. But I don't think we need somebody to give us a date and tell us that we need to do it by this time. So I definitely disagree with this. So please tell us in the comment section, do you agree or disagree, and why? Maybe you might have some ways that this could be beneficial that I didn't think of. I doubt it, but it's possible. Because I thought about it long and hard, but it is possible. Now let's take a look at these positive comments. One came from No82. Hey, what's up? No said, oh man, she was a wonderful author. My mom got me into her books. Rest in peace. This was in reference to Anne Rice. I did a community post, I think it was yesterday or the day before, because Anne Rice passed away. And many of you will recognize Anne Rice as the author of The Interview with a Vampire. Very great book. Love the movie. I love Brad Pitt. And even Tom Cruise did a pretty good job as Lestat. I must give him that. So Anne Rice is the author of that book and many others. I remember when I was a girl, I read The Witching Hour. I loved that series. It was all about witches. So yeah, Anne Rice passed away. May she rest in peace. And our culture, especially like popular culture, owes a lot to Anne Rice. Anne Rice she revitalized the vampire. The vampire was basically an old relic, like Frankenstein, for quite some time. And there were still vampire movies every so often. But when Anne Rice did Interview with a Vampire and the movie came out and the books came out, it really brought the vampire a whole new life. So may she rest in peace. The other positive comment came from Fanny Castro. Hey, Fanny. Fanny said, I am learning so much from you. You've hit the nail on this one about those cases. I've been blessed because my temper, but I'm learning my dark and negative side so I can fix a few, not all. Well, we all have a shadow. That's very true. And they often call it shadow work. So it's, admitting and accepting the parts of yourself that are often hidden. And if there are things about you that you don't particularly care for, you absolutely do have the right and the responsibility to change them. When I was younger, I saw a lot of things about me I didn't like, and I started to work on them. And that's why I can now not do those things, not be that person. But it was all with the awareness. I had to be aware and accountable, like, okay, this is me and I can do something about it. And you said not all. you might not need to change everything. It might be just, little tweaks here and there. And you mentioned, I think, your temper with this one. So yeah, temper is definitely one that you want to look at. But remember the thing about the temper. The temper, anger, rage is showing you that something is wrong. Something is going on. So instead of just trying to control the rage, which is part of it, the other part of it is to figure out why. Why is it there? Because usually when you get under the layers of why, there's usually some pain or something else underneath that anger. A lot of things, can come out of that. So good luck on your journey, and thank you for being here. All right, guys, it's time for us to get going. You come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.